there was a measure to appropriate funds to pay U.S. military personnel and essential workers today. Key vote, and Democrats voted against it. There were a handful who voted in favor of it, including John Fetterman, John Ossopp of Georgia, and Raphael Warnock of Georgia. There was a sole holdout among Democrats to vote in favor of it. Meanwhile, as mentioned, Trump's approval rating has ticked up slightly. After the ceasefire deal, it went up a couple points, according to Reuters Ipsos, and is holding steady even in the midst of this shutdown, which a growing number of Americans are beginning to blame Democrats for rather than Republicans. If you look at Trump's approval rating, it's about where Obama's was at this time in his second term, and anywhere from 5 to 10 points higher than George W. Bush's was at this point in his second term. Here's what Caroline Leavitt said about the SNAP benefits running out. Number 46.
So we can just end this madness and this chaos and reopen the government. These are very avoidable consequences. The unnecessary pain, unfortunately, does not end there. Funding for the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program known as SNAP, which provides food benefits to low-income families, is beginning to lapse this week in some states. If Democrats continue to hold Americans hostage, there will not be enough funds to provide SNAP benefits for more than 40 million Americans on November 1st. That is next week. Democrats are solely responsible for all of this unnecessary pain.
And again, the Democrats want to put back $1.5 trillion in spending. They want to refund NPR, PBS. And they want to remove the protections in the Big Beautiful Bill Act that would prevent illegal aliens from getting Medicaid. The Democrat House Whip, whose job it is to keep count of the votes, is named Clark from Massachusetts. And she is admitting that, yeah, families are going to suffer, but it is our only leverage. Number 27.
I mean, shutdowns are terrible. And of course, there will be, families that are going to suffer. We take that responsibility very seriously. But it is one of the few leverage times we have.
Now, in the past, Democrats have always opposed shutdowns. They've always said, let's reopen the government and then we can negotiate our differences. Except they're not doing that this time because, well, Trump. Hakeem Jeffries talks about the millions of Americans who are about to experience substantially higher premiums because of the failure to extend the Obamacare subsidies during this shutdown. Number 16.
Well, our view is that we as Democrats in both the House and the Senate, Leader Schumer has been clear that we'll sit down with anyone, anytime, any place, either here at the Capitol or back at the White House in order to reopen the government, find a path toward a bipartisan spending agreement, but that agreement actually needs to meet the needs of the American people and improve the quality of life of everyday Americans, while at the same time decisively addressing the health care crisis that Republicans have created. Aaron, we're talking about the largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals, nursing homes, and community-based health clinics are closing all across America. Just earlier today, it was announced that more than 50 hospitals in rural Alabama are at risk of closing because of what Republicans have done in their one big ugly bill. And now, as a result of the Republican refusal to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, we know that tens of millions of Americans are about to experience dramatically increased premiums, copays, and deductibles, including in places like West Virginia, Wyoming, Alaska, Mississippi, and Tennessee.
I don't understand why people like Hakeem Jeffries doesn't take the win. Because Republicans have already suggested that they're willing to talk about extending the Obamacare subsidies, which means Obama won. I said this when Obamacare passed. Worst pieces of legislation probably I've ever seen. It was not going to bend the cost curve down, not going to save the average family X amount of money on premiums per year, which is what he said. It has done exactly what I said and what others said. It has jacked up the cost of health care. That said, there are so many people now that are getting benefits from Obamacare. There now is a constituent that will yell and scream if it's taken away, and Republicans are now talking about extending the Obamacare subsidies, which is exactly the plan that Obama pursued at the very beginning. Harry Reid, the Senate leader, a Democrat Senate leader, said in an interview that Obamacare was just one big step towards single payer, which is what their ultimate objective is. The objective is to make sure people are on Obamacare, make sure you have enough people who will go on CNN, MSNBC, and talk about how horrible it is that the dastardly Republicans are taking things away. And Republicans would then agree to extend Obamacare and another giant leap towards single payer, which has been their goal all along.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.